On the prairies of America, wars like this often take place. In the nearby treetops, opportunistic predators saw it all. Instead of attacking living animals, they will fight over corpses. But this war was equally brutal. Leaving the wilderness and moving towards farms, livestock are quickly targeted by vultures in place of wild animals. And this is how millions of vultures affect American agriculture. Vultures have long been considered a nuisance in the American South. Vultures appear everywhere, on the balcony, on the roof, and they are ready to destroy windshield wipers of cars in the area. Occasionally, vultures create collisions in the air. And as farm clashes increase, some breeders are desperate and looking for help. Vultures display complex behaviours and can adapt to any human-dominated landscape. They have many advantages over invasive species on the ground, easily expanding their range, contributing to increasing conflicts between humans and vultures. The diverse ecosystem and ability to move at high altitudes helps vultures respond to changes in the availability of essential resources such as food and habitat conditions. For these opportunistic predators, feeding in terrestrial or aquatic environments is possible for them. They often hunt their prey in open ground, by hovering about 200 feet off the ground. Although the turkey vulture typically migrates, it may stay during mild winters. Turkey vultures typically live on open plains, deserts, or forests. Groups of up to 70 birds or more may roost in trees and leave them when warmer air makes it easier for them to fly. In Spain, it is estimated that vultures can remove up to 200 tons of bones and more than 8,300 tons of rotting meat each year. The rapid consumption of livestock carcasses significantly reduces greenhouse gas emissions. In addition, it also saves costs of collecting and transporting cattle carcasses to the processing plant. They not only clean up animal carcasses lying around in the fields, but also wild animal carcasses. In fact, vultures are nature's scavengers, cleaning corpses, purifying pathogens, and preventing the spread of disease. At the same time, vultures also contribute to nutrient recycling and eliminate populations of facultative scavengers such as foxes. Compared to this carcass cleaning machine on the steppe, vultures are much more useful. They also provide cultural and spiritual services dating back thousands of years. Accompanying that, they are entertainment services in the form of ecotourism. Here, vultures are taken care of quite well. It is estimated that the potential value of vulture viewing at a nature reserve in Israel is more than $1 million, and that 85% of visitors come back to the park specifically to see vultures. Regardless of whether in artificial or natural environments, we cannot deny the positive effects of vultures on the ecosystem. However, vulture populations still cause certain damage to agriculture and the lives of American people. Unlike its red-headed cousin the turkey vulture, which only eats dead animals, black vultures are aggressive birds that will sometimes kill other animals for food. Black vulture attacks often target young animals or livestock that is giving birth and cannot fight back. Two men tried to pull the calf's body from out of the mother cow's body. Its body twitched in pain and it seemed to be waiting for death. Black vultures are present year-round in Kentucky. However, they are migratory from South America to Canada. which is why numbers tend to increase in Kentucky in the fall and winter as northern birds move south. They are medium-sized vultures, standing 23 to 27 inches tall, with wings spread over 5 feet. They weigh around 3.5 to 5 pounds. Because vultures are able to locate and consume carcasses quickly, they have a competitive advantage over terrestrial carnivores. Each brood of vultures usually lays 2 eggs, and the eggs are incubated for 28 to 40 days. The young vulture will develop its wings in 9 to 10 weeks, and then leave the nest after 60 to 80 days. At this time, they are healthy and know all the hunting skills required. The strong survival ability and lack of many natural enemies has led to a population explosion of vultures. The bird has become a problem over a wide area, from the Gulf of Mexico to Ohio and from Texas to New York. A vulture attack can cost a farm up to $2,000 per animal. Vultures fly around in the grazing area. They are a potential danger. Farmers must constantly be keeping an eye on their livestock, because if they are not careful, at the last moment, their cattle could become a meal for vultures. American farmers do not hunt vultures because this predator is protected by law. As migratory birds, black vultures are federally protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act and individual state regulations. This means that without a license, American farmers are not allowed to hunt vultures. Instead, they may use other preventative measures. Farmers can catch a vulture and bring it in front of the whole flock to frighten the rest, or use a dummy. Vultures certainly don't like this at all. When hanging up the dummy, they will often disperse from that area. Farmers often use dummies around their houses and grazing areas. If they return after a few days, they will repeat the process. Proper disposal and handling of livestock can also limit vulture attacks. Because carcasses littering the landscape will attract predators. On a cattle farm in Indiana, when dead livestock are discovered, farmers clean it up before the raptors arrive. Not only do they affect the livestock industry, vultures also cause headaches for the American people. Of course, they are not dangerous to humans, but no one likes these wild birds appearing around their living area. Because vultures behave naturally like their territory and can bring many nuisances. Shock lines have been installed on the roofs of people in the area. This is a low-profile ledge suppression system that is effective against all nuisance birds. It uses the principle of fear and flight. When vultures land on one of the tracks, they will receive a mild electric shock. This is not harmful to them, but will allow them to stay away from the area. Disturbing the vulture's hearing with a flare gun is also a good measure. The gun is specially made with sounds and lights similar to fireworks, just enough to scare vultures. A series of measures were implemented and brought about certain effects. Yet, in contrast to the rapid decline of many vulture species worldwide, black vulture populations are increasing and expanding their distribution in North America. They occur from the south to the Midwest, north along the Appalachian Mountains, and up the east coast into Canada. At first glance, tourists sailing along the beach thought the creatures swimming towards them were dogs. But they were all wrong. Those are wild boars. They swam for hours in the sea. Where do they come from? Nobody knows. But their appearance on the beach made everyone panic. Deep into German territory, gunshots rang out, an uncompromising war, where millions of wild boars invaded Bavaria and how German farmers cope with them. Central European wild boars have coarse fur, small eyes, and sharp teeth connected to strong jaws. These invasive wild boars bring a lot of trouble. Wild boars can injure and even kill people. Southeast Germany is seeing a notable presence of wild boar over the past few decades. Wild boars stormed the Bavarian town on a peaceful Saturday morning, leaving behind damaged cars and destroyed fences. They ran away from the hunters and caused trouble for the people. Incidents increased and more police were deployed into the town. In nature, wild boars are extremely resilient. They can thrive in almost any environment and are known for their ability to eat just about anything. Those two characteristics make wild boars a highly adaptable creature. At the same time, it also makes them a nuisance. There is an interesting point. In the wild, wolves are the #1 enemy of wild boars. Although wild boars cause great damage in many places, much damage is not done in Germany's suburban areas, which are areas with sizable wolf populations. Unfortunately, wolves are not usually found around major agricultural areas. This means there is no natural mechanism to control their numbers. Worse still, a female wild boar can give birth to 2 litters of 5 to 8 cubs each, which further complicates the population problem. Births can occur every month of the year, with most wild boar populations having peak births occurring in the winter and spring months. Mother wild boars are very dangerous, especially when protecting their young, and they can hurt you. In areas where forage is abundant, reproductive rates may be higher than average. Without hunting, the population would triple every year. Wildlife biologists warn that this could quickly reach an area limit of 30 wild boars per square kilometre. That will be the end of the agricultural industry. Wild boars are large and ferocious, with some weighing up to 590 pounds. Their presence in the area has deprived native species of food sources. Deer are one of the species that must leave a habitat when wild boars arrive. They tore up the bush with roots and swamps, leaving only bare soil. Plants are not adapted to resist that type of attack and cannot regenerate fast enough. A herd of wild boars can destroy an entire field of crops in just a few days. Besides, wild boars are also vectors of diseases, containing many pathogens and parasites. They defecate in the fields, leaving behind fecal coliforms that can infect and endanger human and animal health. Conflicts between humans and wildlife have reached alarming levels all over the world. The tense relationship between the German people and wild boars reflects that. This is not a cute animal. Heads of states are forced to take measures to limit their invasion. When dealing with this aggressive species, there are some states that allow hunting of feral hogs from helicopters. With this flying speed and altitude, hunters are required to have higher techniques. No wild boar stands still, they must aim accurately during the chase. Chasing them on the ground is very dangerous. If not careful, farmers will likely be attacked by wild boars. Of course, conventional hunting like this is still more common. But to ensure safety, farmers must wear protective gear and use high-caliber weapons. The German Hunting Federation says Central Europe is turning into a land of abundance, as warmer weather causes more crops to grow. Not only farmers, but invasive wild boars also love this information. The wild boars born in spring are growing extremely well. It would not be surprising if wild animals grow healthy in good environments. But even in difficult times like climate change, wild boars are still beneficiaries. When faced with brutal invaders, protecting crops from wild boar damage is a serious topic for hunters from August to October. In Germany, a team of professional hunters was assigned to deal with them. If hunters responsible for restoration fail to prevent damage caused by feral pigs, they may be held responsible for farmers' lost crops. And the fine can reach tens of thousands of dollars. Hunting is mainly done in the evening and lasts until early morning. When hunting, hunters use different luring methods to attract wild boars. Oak sap is spread on the trees and attracts wild boars to rub on the trees. In addition, some tools such as sound generators are also used to increase the likelihood of successful hunting trips. Besides, orientated safaris are always stimulating and are popularly done. At this time, instead of waiting for the wild boar to arrive, the hunter will control the game. They actively searched based on the sounds emitted when the wild boar herd moved. Depending on speed and accuracy, experienced hunters can hunt several wild boars in just a few seconds. The hunter spotted a pig ahead. He gently took aim and killed it neatly. This is a job only for healthy and sharp people. He tried to run uphill in time to stop the pigs from escaping. Each shot must be very fast and accurate so that not a single wild boar can run away. The head or chest are the two preferred positions when hunting wild boar because they can cause higher mortality. That's how professional hunters deal a high damage attack and the results they obtain on today's trip. You can easily see wild boar meat on the dining tables of Americans or Australians, countries that also suffer a lot of damage from wild boars. However, wild boar meat in Germany is not popular because of radioactivity. Wild boars are one of the species most affected by the long-term consequences of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. Experts say that unlike other wild animals, wild boars tend to store radiation because they plow contaminated soil with their snouts. Regardless, hunters still target wild boars with excessive radiation levels. Last year, they brought in a record number of 640,000 wild boars. And following that trend, the amount of contaminated meat also skyrocketed. Wild boar meat is so radioactive that it is considered dangerous for consumers. It needs to be thrown out and burned. If hunters are serious about bringing wild boar meat to the table, they will choose carefully from the wild boars they hunt. Then, wild boar meat is tested for radiation before use. Of course, they must also prioritize areas with low rates of radioactive wild boar for commercial hunting. In fact, sometimes selling to the government is more profitable than selling to commercial stores. Compensation from Germany's atomic energy law promises to give hunters a financial incentive to surrender radioactive wild boar meat.